You follow me? But this man got a brother who operated a business on Camp Street.
Will help assist in moving the needle of those who are at the bottom.
They're just young and bumptious. They're selfish. And if this is an elder in the Muhammad's family saying that them two young people is just out of place, do you get the impression that the majority of the Muhammads are against the PPP? Think on that. Y'all think on that. Let me continue to tell you in my mind what the Muhammads represent, or what WIN represents. Do you know the masterminds behind WIN? Do you think the jaguar being used as WIN's symbol was coincidental? Which Indian nationalist, I'm calling him an Indian nationalist. Which Indian racist, I'm calling him an Indian racist. Which Indian supremacist, I am calling him an Indian supremacist in this country, had a political party where the jaguar was the symbol? If you didn't know, I guess you should research and you're going to eventually know. But I know y'all big and y'all ain't stupid. I know y'all young and y'all ain't stupid neither, regardless how much script they call you. Marcel Glasgow says Ravi Dev. There was a political party in this country named Roar. Roar. Rise, organize, did it say advance? Something but Roar. And Roar was created by Ravi Dev to push a mantra of Indian supremacy in this country. Its symbol was the jaguar. Do you see the jaguar reappearing? I can't say symbol was the symbol was the jaguar. You had the jaguar where the O was supposed to be in Roar. R, the jaguar Z A R. Right? Good. Do you see Rise, Organize, and Rebuild? Thank you very much, Barbara Barrington. That is why I love my co-producers. Because when I'm able to think about it, they remind me of it. Rise, Organize, and Rebuild. Rise, Organize, and Rebuild what? Indian supremacy in Guyana. Look at all of Ravi Dev's writings and his utterances. As a matter of fact, let me don't say so. I never get no last. Just go read his writings and see. And tell me that he hasn't been promoting the supremacy of Indians or Indo descendants over Afro descendants in this country. And so you see the jaguar reappearing. Why do you think it reappeared with WIN? So think about that. My understanding is that there are lots of Indian supremacists who stood with the PPP that are now intellectual authors in WIN. Not for them. So they got doctor in front of the name. How this battery low so now? Right? And so again, I'm saying WIN represents an old order which supported and continues to support the PPP and definitely supports Indian domination of African Guyanese in this country. Right? I want you all to keep that in mind. What else does WIN represent? The utterances of Sheikh Mohammed Nazar Mohammed, when Donna McKinnon was murdered right outside of Freedom House. There were 3 guns in Freedom House. I'll complete the statement because you've heard it. What did Donna McKinnon represent in this country when she was murdered outside Freedom House? She represented Guyanese citizenry fighting to defend and protect democratic practices, free, fair, and credible election in this country. And if you were part of the plot to murder people who are fighting for democratic practices in this country, don't come today and tell me. Don't come today and tell me that you have the interest of the people who were being murdered by the people that you supported and your family continue to support in 2025. When young Black youths were being murdered all across this country at the hands of the Phantom Squad, Sean Brown, you name Sean Brown, say, y'all don't mix it up. They had many killing squads. I can't name all of them. But you had the Phantom Squad, you had the Death Squad, you had the Black Clothes Police. I know about them three at least. Yeah, Terrence, they're dead like you would. The Death Squad, the Phantom Squad, and the Black Clothes Police. Or at least 3 sets of killers in this country. A member of the Black Clothes Police, Sean Hines. What did I say? Thank you. Whatever I say, I don't know. Sometimes I get 40 with these names and stuff. One of the murderers from the Black Clothes Squad is currently advisor to your Minister of Home Affairs, Brock up there. Y'all go find out his name. I know his name, you know his name, and everybody else should know his name. Young people, if you don't know his name, go and do the research. So when people are talking about win, I want them to be able to make this association, what win represented then, because here those killing squads that existed, that were murdering youths, young people, especially up and down the coastlands of this country, all around this country, they were funded. They had to be funded. And they were funded by businessmen and women aligned with the PPP. You give me a list of businesses aligned with the PPP during that period, and I can give you a list of financiers or financiers, whatever they call them, of the killing squad. Sheikh Mohammed said, well, we supported the PPP. I supported the PPP. We supported the PPP since Jagan was fighting for power. And we continue to support them. As Azzuddin Mohammed said, when they were afraid to go on the East Coast, when they were afraid to go on the East Coast and other parts of this country, we provided weapons and personnel and vehicles to protect them. Why certain members of a government would be afraid to go into certain districts of the country if they are angels, if they were being nice and kind and fair to the residents of those districts of the country? And if you come to me as an individual and say, you know, I frightened for God to Buxton, despite I'm a sitting member of the government, can you protect me? The first thing I ask you, why you need protection to go into Buxton? What do you do with Buxtonians? What do you do with Buxtonians? You got level up with me. We do the Buxtoniian. Oh, you discriminate them, man. You beat up them. You murder them, by the brothers and sisters and auntie and cousins, sir. And you keeping them people in oppression. No, me ain't doing that for you. You wicked. But no, come, my brother. Let me hug you up in the name of religion. Let me hug you up in the name of ethnicity. Let me hug you up in the name of supremacy. I gonna watch your back and carry you into boxing and show them who's boss. So y'all examine for me. Oh, I did say Sean Bong, sorry. Right. Oh, Sean Bong dead and burying you. Father forgive. Yeah. So all those of you, young and old, who are saying win, I want you all to re-examine what win represents in this society. That is what I want you all to re-examine. Some of y'all didn't even take no examination, as a matter of fact, because what are a lot of folks, especially youths, and I'm knocking youths, because unless elders like myself, I'm considered an elder now by past the 50 mark. After 50 is elder. Anyhow, when all the folks like myself fail to educate our young people, we were going to allow them to make the decisions that they are about to make, bad decisions. So what Mexico, and it's a minute past 8 o'clock hour. So what? You want to run this program? Right? You want to disrupt me or stop me from spelling facts? You must be a win supporter when you see so. Right? We have to educate the young people. And so I'm saying a lot of them are thinking this thing through. All they see is that Mohammed sharing money left, right, and center. Or so they believe, money sharing left, right, and center. And they could catch a blind here and a blind there and so on and so forth. But I'm encouraging them to dig deeper. All that glitters is not gold. Every skin teeth no laugh. The man is a businessman. The man don't know to manage a country. That man is a businessman who, according to the Americans, have robbed this country of so much money. Just thinking about it, I get dizzy because I never see all the money in my life. And there's only part of his taxes, according to the Americans, that he has robbed this country. Now, I'm going to ask you all this question again. If your neighbor cat come in and thief your milk when it doesn't live by you, are you going to take it into your home? Because it's a fat cat, you can say, don't fat, it's not going to thief. It get fat thieving. It got fat stealing. So you're going to bring it in now for it to thief from you legitimately because I am a member of this family now. I am entitled. So this clown who see now right now, see far, see near, who telling you if you fed up vote for win. See now right? Go check it again. Go and come again. What a lot of our young people don't know and understand, and some of our elders too, they haven't paid attention to the history of the PPP and their friends in this country. Listen, man, like you had another intellectual out to behind win. The man got newspaper. Every day he discuss the PPP about oil. Let's cause them about oil. And many in the north said the only reason this man curses the PPP about oil is because they did not give him an oil block, because he was supporting them during the regime change. He was supporting them during regime change. And so he wasn't rewarded. And so they're cussing every left, right, and center every day. He cussing them, as a matter of fact. And in particular, he cussing Jack Gill. Must listen to him. And you'll come to understand that this man really ain't got a problem with the PPP. You know? This man got a problem with Jack Gill. You follow me? But this man got a brother who operated a business on Camp Street, just over this Kroll Street, just over Kroll. So on Camp Street between Kroll and Brickdam, yeah, brother. By Tony Narayan, you so confused, you didn't even understand English. You're scared when took your supporters. If you talk about futuristic, you're talking about take or will take. Anyhow, back to my discourse here. This man got brother who operated a business along that stretch, or still operates a business along that stretch. Some kind of trading it name. You all go do your research. That's why I trying to save myself. I got a case coming up before the court on the 20th. I expect we're gonna win the case, and I ain't with no more court cases. Right? I want no more court cases in my life, except when I'm going after the PPP for the Guyanese money that they stole. I don't mind going to court to prosecute them. But I don't want to be prosecuted in any court ever again. Good. So this man operated, got his business between Kroll Street and Brickdam. Some kind of trading it name. That brother, they chop bone and give a security guard, a security officer, an African Guyanese security officer for it. Be careful of the people that you tell yourself you could win with. Be careful of the people that you tell yourself you could win with. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. They come to you smiling. But what you think is a smile is bearing the fangs. They're going to yam you raw once they get the opportunity. As the big lady said to me, we old heads, we got the experience. Young people got the technology. We got to bring the two together. We got to bridge it. That's why I start visiting TikTok, because a lot of our young people are on TikTok. And so we gotta go, we gotta educate them, we gotta share history with them so they understand what they're coming up against and stop talking loose. And for those who saying to you, all right, even if when it's a bad choice, the PPP is a good choice. Because the PPP blessing really got a contract and so on. Again, remember that the PPP in office represented and still represent death for young people in this country. I will never forget the name Johann C. Douglas. Never will I forget the name Johann C. Douglas. Johann C. Douglas and two of his colleagues, fellow students of the University of Guyana, were making their way from basketball practice, I think, either from or to basketball practice, when members of the Black Clothes Police or someone of the killer squads of the day rolled up upon them and shot up the vehicle. Shot up the vehicle. Murdered that young student coming from the University of Guyana. I think one of the youth who was in the car was the son of a sitting policeman. I can't remember if it was a senior policeman. I don't know where that youngster is and where the others are right now. But that was then. That was then, man. That was the PPP then. And think drugs are running the country and so on and so forth. And then, man, it's just killing people left, right, and center. Even if you smile at the daughter, or even if the daughter smile at you and you smile back, they're going to murder you. What is the PPP now? What does the PPP represent now? Does the name Quindon Bacchus mean anything to you, a youth man? Murdered in Golden Grove? Rumor has it that he was murdered because he dared to disrespect some businesswoman that has close affiliates to the PPP. Well, Barbara Barrington is telling me that the mother of one of the youngsters was a senior policewoman, and the youngster crashed and died a few years ago. I'm not even aware of that. And so, right away, this is how I think, you know. Yeah, Yancey Douglas Gray and others. Now, here, this is how I think. What were the circumstances of his crash? Was he so psychologically affected after witnessing the murder of his friend and being in the same vehicle in which his friend was murdered and he saw death? Was he so psychologically affected that he became a loose cannon? And so was he driving recklessly and crashed and died? People don't look at these long-lasting effects on people, because in this country, we don't pay no attention to mental health. Cousin Tapping is asking me to let that ad go. I don't know which ad you're talking about. But we gaffing reasoning. This morning, I ain't in no anger mood or reasoning. Y'all can't take me off my medi. Right. So, all right, that was then. It is alleged that Yancey Douglas was murdered because he dared to big word is screw the daughter of a sitting minister. Y'all know the minister too. He dead and gone too. Then the dead bury the dead. Stinking dirty big belly man. I'm sure that daughter is alive. She must tell this story. She must repent, you know. She must go to purgatory. But they were killing youths back then. And they're killing youths now. Like I said, Quindon Bacchus. Quindon Bacchus was murdered. Allegations were made that he had gone, that he shot at police, and when they do the gun that they presented, that he had the dirty girl, as them by the Scarlet. Y'all gotta understand with a dirty girl. Wasn't even functional. I was when Tapping said right to left. I wonder why. It wasn't even functional. But then they went to Essequibo and the murder or in Boston. Another youth man. They say he attacked them with gun. Oh, skeks. This mind of mine, you see this mind of mine, it's wicked. There's a lot of wickedness in this mind. It warped. Let me don't say wicked. It vain. This mind. They say he attacked them with gun. And when push came to shove, the only gun the man had was the gun inside his pants, and he didn't even got them pants. By only the Dragonaires. When the men kill the men, all that remain is women is they're not gonna have no fun. Because the only gun I got is the one inside my pants. That's what we're in Boston had. Another youth man murdered at the hands of the people. Young people, be informed. Adults, don't forget the linden tree. Allegedly, who were murdered at the hands of who? The current sitting, what? commissioner of police. Yeah, serious? Don't forget the Linden Tree, who were murdered because the Lindeners dared to protest against an imposition without representation. Allegedly, the instructions came from the Home Affairs Minister. Who was that? Was it Roy at the time? I think it was Roy at the time. So Hickins at the time. What was he? Divisional commander or something? I can't remember. Head of TSU or something? I can't remember. But it is alleged that the instructions came from the Home Affairs Minister to Hickins, who was on the ground, and it resulted in the murder of 3 Lindeners. Thank you, Winston Jordan. Winston Jordan is recommending that you check Kaito News of February 18, 2018. From victim to victor, businessman Robson Gray is a special person. So Robson Gray was one of them that got shot up in that vehicle. Right? You know what I'm saying? Don't forget the Linden Tree, the PPP that died at the hands of the PPP, and allegedly the current commissioner of police. But the PPP has changed. When I say leopard has changed the spots or something like that, not so long ago, a Lindener was murdered by a policeman. Daring murder. Uncalled for murder. And the Linden community again dared to protest. They dared to protest. And in the midst of their protest, another Lindener was murdered. Another Lindener, Fortuny, I think is his name, was murdered. To date, as far as I'm aware, no one has been held accountable for the murder of Fortuny, just like no one was held accountable for the murder of the Linden Tree. All happened under the hands of the PPP. Youths are an endangered species under the PPP, regardless of how they tell you they care, regardless of how they come into your community around this election time to give you handouts, regardless of how they give you gutter cleaning contract because it's an election year, regardless of how they promise that CXC fees are going to be refunded to parents. The right for size is silly season when it comes to elections. CXC fees are going to be refunded to parents after you have vote for we in September. Regardless of how they come and tell you all of that, look at their track record and come to one conclusion. Youths are endangered under the PPP. And if you want the most glaring of evidence, let us go to Doubleday Hotel at Tushan or wherever it is and ask ourselves why up to this day there is no justice for that little 11-year-old girl named Adriana Young. And you know, I jumped the gun, you know, because we could go back to the homestead, the dormitory. How many young people died in there? To date, no one has been held accountable for the murder of those young people in the dormitory. As a matter of fact, this PPP government that a lot of people telling us are so good and nice and considerate and caring for young people, the Attorney General of that PPP government allegedly forced the hands of the parents of those children who were burnt to death in that dormitory. to sign away their rights to accept a pittance as compensation for their murdered children, and to declare that that settlement was final and will never be challenged. Y'all remember that? But let everyone come forward, like I said to Adriana Young. All they had to do to start with was allow the police to do their work. But when calls come from higher up in the PPP to tell the police stand down, and instead of searching the hotel and doing their work, protect the hotel and the owners from the hotel, so nobody can go in and search and rescue little Adriana Young. That for me is evidence enough that youths are endangered under the PPP government, or PPP as a political party, the anti-young people. Especially if you're young people of a particular ethnicity. And so let's make a quick comparison. Because the question was asked of me, what did coalition do for young people? They protected our lives. They protected the lives of youths. Check the record of the coalition for the 3.5 years or the 5 years, whatever you want to call it, and see how many young people were murdered in this country extrajudicially. I can think of one. Maybe there were others. But even if there were two, I mean, it's too many. But in no way do they add up to the numbers of our youths that have lost their lives extrajudicially under the PPP. Those are the things I'm asking you all to consider. You like Aubrey Norton as a you think Aubrey Norton is going to be a president? What worse than a finale Aubrey Norton can possibly do? What worse than the PPP and government can the coalition and government possibly do? Assuming you say the coalition evil and the PPP evil, I would bet on the lesser of the two evils. And I'm saying so consciously, being very well aware that people can say, but they got alternative out there, they got win out there. Win, a vote for win is a vote for the PPP. They got 15 other political parties out there because I think, if I remember, it's 16 or 19. I think 19 political party symbols were approved. So they got 16 or 17 other political parties. Take your time. Big people and young people. And they deep. According to the Bajans or Trinidadians, go deep into the pumpkin vine and find out what they represent and who they represent. Just as how there are lots of Indian supremacists from the PPP behind Win, just like that, a lot of these political parties that popping up, like Wild Bush, they got ulterior motive, like they said that they pop up in 2020. Where Anok support went, where Schumann support went, where all the guardians of democracy, where their support went. It's 26 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. It's still Free Talk Friday. I could make a call. TikTokers? Oh, I gotta sign in. Y'all don't call yet. Y'all give me a minute and show that y'all could call. Some people don't listen, they don't hear, or they just don't care. Which one? I said don't call yet. Wait. You can place the calls now. I'm ready to take them. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number. Hi. Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing? It's Tuesday morning. How y'all doing? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Hidaki Amsterdam. How you been? How you keeping? What have you done over the weekend? Oh, it was a holiday weekend, so it was long. I feel like I'm getting a meltdown. I might believe it. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting a Tuesday morning meltdown. The weekend has been that long. And then I had all of these technological challenges this morning. For the greater part, not from my end. Hi, Miss Sister. Good morning. How are you? Because I see my streaming software or Facebook or streaming site, whatever, saying that they're having some issues with interconnectivity of the software and the apps and so on and so forth. So this morning, the entire program just decided they're going to give me some stress. But I ain't taking stress. I'm taking it light. The lines are home. You can call. I was looking for a booklet I had. I'm not going to find it though. Because as I was talking about the PPP and the killing and all the wickedness, y'all listen to this apologist. Leon, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Are you hearing me, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Hello? Hey, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. How you doing? I'm so happy to know that this morning you're not in a bad mood. And before I start making my point, Mr. Amsterdam, I just want to remind you, I am always respectful to you and I treat you with respect. I tune into your program every morning because, I like to hear you and learn from you. Anyway, I'd like to respond to a few things that you said this morning. With the newspaper man, he's always a supporter of the PNC. Even now, look at his headlines. He always carry the PNC narrative. And extrajudicial killing, one life lost is one too many. And I'm so happy that you're speaking up on it. But let's not forget that from the jailbreak people with among the Indian people. I mean, in the same breath, you should talk about that too. They were killing Indian people like flies, bro. And you must address that too. Remember the little girl in the Enterprise, Christine Sukra? She just peep out your window when they shoot you in your head. And I'm not hearing you talk. You're not talking about the 13-year-old the other day was raped and kidnapped and raped. I don't know if you could respond to those. Thank you so much, Mr. Amsterdam, for taking my call, and I respect you and what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your usual imbecilic comments. Let me start by saying I challenge you, Mr. Apologist, to put the numbers before us in terms of the killing during that 2000 to whenever it lasted, that jailbreak, etc. I challenge you to give us the numbers and prove to me that Indo-Guyanese were disproportionately killed during that crime spree. I challenge you for that. And if you can prove to me that Indian Guyanese were disproportionately killed in that crime spree, I will give you your flowers. Until you could prove that, you will remain nothing for me but a bottom liquor, as David Ine describes people like you. Come on, y'all, get some respect, man. It can't be you're calling a program that you're not listening to. And if you're calling a program with me in the middle of saying something, it simply means that you don't even care what you got to say. This is my program. And you come and you listen here because you got an opportunity to share or you got an opportunity to receive. There got to be out in something. I woke up this morning thinking I have to take a tour to what I call a memorial, the monument outside of Buxton. Here we go again. Call it on.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. You know, like the previous idiot that called, he wants to know what about the killing during the jailbreak? Who released those jailmen? Who released them to work on behalf of them to kill left, right, and center? It's the same the criminal friends that he come to represent, an idiot, a jackass. It's his friends. They were in power. They had the jailbreak to go and kill their rivals. Idiot, don't call back on this program. Find one of your stupid propaganda numbskull programs and call in. 1,400 black young people were slaughtered by drug deal. Okay? Go there. You got to remind the young people that the PPP government is anti-black. Anti-black, just like the supporters. They want nothing to do with black people. They only want to use you. They use the army, they use the police force to slaughter young black people. No Indian. They use them. They use the commissioner then, now, and they're going to do it again. They use the army then, now, and they're going to do it again. The only way out is to elect WPA Norton, open the floodgates to Guyana, invite the FBI, the CIA to come and get their ass. Open the floodgates, take them out, carry them life in prison, not to return to Guyana. Just like that idiot, big time jackass that called just now. Don't encourage them to call on your program because they got the government right now tampering with your program. The Chinese helping them to surveil all your community. Those cameras that they got on the road, they're listening on your phone calls. That's how they're able to run in on you guys. Because that's what they're doing. Elect Norton, WPA, open the floodgates, invite the US to come in because the Chinese can help them destroy Guyana. There's nothing good for them being there. They're going to turn Guyana in a pure communist society, all Indian, just like how they're importing them by the thousands for vote. That's what they're doing. Go to the airport and you're going to see. Go to the one on Oga and go to the one at him aerial show they running in Guyana. And he called for talk crap. Look, Kadaki, have a good day.
Thank you for your call. Notengali Hussein, I don't know what Notengali Hussein saying. I saw somebody named Sawarani earlier in the morning. Don't tell me I pronounce it wrong. That got to be a Sawarani. Right? But I was saying to our early morning fool, Clum, Lake Bottom, whoever. The man says he always shows me respect. Fair is fair. He's always respectful. He's always respectful. But you gotta earn my respect, bro. You gotta earn my respect. You can't come and spew nonsense and expect me to give you any kind of respect. If you were a child, if you come humble to seek information, how when you taking the PPP money to say you're defending the nonsense? I ain't saying another word. You best keep this program going with calls. Call you on. Good morning. Caller, you are on. Good morning.
Hello, Mr. Ganaki.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. A happy weekend to you. And I just call it with the caller just now, saying, but Kuli people when they kill out. Not Kuli people. The target was black people because they said the black man kill what been a bandit, so they kill out all the bandit. But not that. They want the miniature we. Them man with them a kill, them mean say them man go pick me. Right? So they don't want them man make children, so them a the miniature we. And thank you, God. Thank you, Mr. Kanaki.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 622-5933 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. It is 8 hours 27th on the 8th day of July in the year 2025. I am waiting for your calls. Just like I'm waiting for the 12th of July to reach, I'm waiting for your calls.
Good morning, Kadakian listeners. It's over 2 years asking you not to entertain that caller. You don't have nothing good to contribute. Do not entertain him. You know his number. Don't entertain him.
Leon, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my other black brothers and sisters in Guyana. First thing first, let me keep our pastor words alive that died, that who was so dedicated to our program. The pastor that said, first thing first, we're going to get there. You know, let me say this here first before I say what I wanted to say this morning. You see, black people, our greatest enemy is our tongue. We don't know what we need in life, but we know what we want in life. When Flash Gardner talk about Kuli people, they say, no, Mr. Amsterdam, don't make Flash Gardner come back to the program. Don't make me fight. Because Flash Gardner always talking about Kuli and Kuli. Now the man attack something else now. Are you fighting down? But I used to fight me down when my one I about Kuli people. Now, let me move on. My big sister called me. She said, my brother, did you see the rally? I said, no, I sleep with. She said, man, it was a bomb. I said, you was this? She said, yes. I wouldn't leave it for nothing. Then I moved on. I said, okay, my sister. Therefore, as you was there, you represent me. She said, no, my brother, I represent you. I represent myself. Young people, you got to represent yourself for better life tomorrow. You got to be where you must be so you could benefit from it. You cannot stay home or wait for MP and Mr. Abinati for walk all over Nagani for pull your hand out. She said she represent herself. Why? Because she need more money on her pension and more money on her INS, NIS, what she work hard for. I love to listen words like that, encouragement word. Then I go on Facebook and start to look the program. The best words, the best message out of all is one message came from my good friend David Hines. I like calling him David Hines. No, Mr. David, because easy word to pronounce, Mr. David. He said to all Guyanese, do not scatter your vote. Powerful words. Do not scatter your vote, because if you need APM for deliver, you got to put your vote together. We vote together, we will win together and receive a better life and a country of progress for all, bright future. I love those words. Because Flaviano always said, the problem with black people, we scatter our vote and do not scatter them vote. It's we to be blamed, nobody else. We scatter our vote when AFC came out. We leave AFC and we leave PNC and WPA and run to AFC. What AFC deliver today? They deliver what Jim Jones delivered to them 900 American adults and kids dead. That what AFC they deliver and they do the game. But now it's not AFC, it's Mohammed. Black people do the same thing again. Mohammed now come out, don't know what Mohammed never heard them. And I went to Mohammed, I vote again for punishment. My black brother and sister, and you could talk just like David. I was glad when they say, let us go into the house of the Lord, because of what David received spiritually. But you guys could receive both physically and spiritually. I was glad when Flash Garvey encouraged us every day. Vote for Abinati. God sent him. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You tune to the Guyanese Morning Time. It is Talk Back Tuesday. So y'all talk to me. The caller said they heard enough of me. They ain't able to wait for I don't talk. So they're going to call. And so y'all call. Voice note.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam and viewers. That man came on and said,
Call you on. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam and the listening and viewers.
Caller,
Morning.
let me caution you, because you've sent me a number of voice notes promoting kill, get, kill back. Please don't. Not on this program. Proceed.
Okay, Mr. Amsterdam. It appears to me like my thing this morning, like the administration being paid bounty on black people head. I don't know if that affect the program. And the writing is on the wall. If we look at how Adriana Young being killed and there is no justice, and there's a baby from the cradle, I must say. And we have to take note about these killings, especially in an election year when I figure they need the black community voters cut numbers to drop and the incarceration of black people. And we have to take note about these killing and the incarceration of black people. That is my take this morning. We have to wise up and be more sensible. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Yes, we have to take note of the killings, and we can't only take note of the killings. We have to take the relevant action at the relevant time. As a government, we have to prosecute the murderers. Call you on.
A blessed good morning, Gadaki, to you and your viewing listeners. Hello?
Caller, proceed.
Um, my concern is to bring awareness to the whole dynamics that is going on in our country. In particularly, the race that is ultimately paying the dreaded price that is of black, our Guyanese, Afro Guyanese. We have reached a turning point whereby we are seeing many atrocities is happening in our society, and that does not spell well for our nation and as a people. I would like us as a people to understand what we are really in. We are in a spiritual warfare because I can give you one illustration. Since when, in all the years that I'm living, we had social activities like parties and so on, and I could never recall a, a fete, a show, or a promotion has embraced a name of stink and dirty. Whenever you're going to produce or promote any show or anything that carries that kind of title, it means that you have embraced such an environment and uphold such a realm in our country that will cause a nation to be in a terrible state. And the Guyanese people, in particularly the black youths of today, are not conscious of what they are really in. And they are very proud to say that, well, they're going to these shows that carries a name that has a stigma to degrade and low grade them. And in so saying, because of embracing such a stigma, that we as a people have found ourselves in the gutters and are not conscious of it. For example, you got another name attached that is not recommended for any people. When you're going to say that, well, you are a scrape or a dunstug, this is the kind of environment this regime have gotten us in. And I would like to say there is something called engineering, and the PPP is engineering a movement to displace and to destroy a group of people. And predominantly, that group of people are black people in this country. It is time the youths wake up to the reality of what they're in and ensure that they make every effort to, to distance themselves from this kind of environment. So, Mr. Kadaki, in all fairness, Guyana is at a turning point whereby that we're seeing a regime that has no interest in supporting the poor class of people, and that is all race. That doesn't have color, right? And we have to show that we are going to come out when that time comes, September the 4th, and put an end to this madness, this spiritual madness that is going on in this country here. Because they say wickedness find themselves in high places. And as long as Guyanese are not conscious of the fact that we are in a wicked spiritual way realm, there's no success, or there's no promotion of harmony and development in this country. Sandstones, bricks, and cement are not development. Development lies when you can walk in the streets, catch the various transportations, and see people with a smile. That will tell you how developed we are. And if you can see personally, you go any part of this country and you see the facial expression of people in this country, that can tell you that we are not developed, because most people, in particularly the poor, are not smiling because they are disgruntled by the mere fact that the presence of the state of our country is in. Mr. Gadaki, thank you for having me. You are doing a wonderful job. Thank you. God bless you and your family, and God bless Guyana. Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you for your call.
That Indian people was dying like flies. Well then, how black? Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam and viewers. That man came on and said that Indian people was dying like flies. Well then, how black people were dying? I tell you, black people have a figure. So what is the Indian people figure that died? And who are the persons that kill these Indian people that die like flies that he's talking about? We people have to wake up. Our young people have to wake up and see when they lock them up and when they do them these things. Is the black lawyers that have to come out and defend them. So the best wake up, come out and vote the PPP out, and put or become from London to lead this nation out of oppression and punishment.
Our family. That guy was good afternoon. Oh, yes, fella called Dr. Love. This message, one is by saying must reach Mr. Margaret and Melissa Akla. As I put on my phone and I see this guy, Dr. Love from Katrina, living in Barbados now. And I hear this guy talking old bundle of trash about Margaret Scott and Melissa Akla. Talking a lot of ignorance, saying that is not true in Guyana. The words is our government. This message, I want Mr. Margaret Scott to listen. I talking the facts and nothing else but the facts. And I listen to that. Listen to me. That same guy, Dr. Love, was on the channel, 6 Shama program, couple of years back. And this guy married to a girl from Vietnam, so the same village I live in. Understand me? This guy was one of the most laziest person that I ever come across towards a father or a family. That guy was a good friend of a fellow called Mr. Older. He borrowed a lot of money from Mr. Older. And I'm going to dish out the nasty story here today. He borrowed a lot of money from Mr. Older, and he didn't pay Mr. Older money. And he on his married day, his wedding day, Mr. Older made and he get him married. And Mr. Ola go and put the police on him. On the same day you get married. You know, when you get married, the husband has got to be in the church has got to be in the church first. His wife could have never ever entered that church. The wife was suckling because he was locked up. He was locked up by Lenore police. He was locked up. Went to Mr. Ola, Mr. Ola get locked up on that day. And the only way he get released so late. Because he paid amount, so much amount he paid that he was to pay the rest because he did not all the money. That's where this man get released from the station on his wedding day. The guy is one of the most scampish fella they had around them time them though. The most people is scamp. You go and catch or ask people catching they know this guy Dr. Love. You ask everything about this guy. This guy run away from Guyana because he married that girl and left she with 2 sons in the Namstel. He ill-treat that girl to the max. He condemning that girl. 2 sons he left, never pay a child support. He run away. No more child support he have for these two sons that he have with this girl from the Namstel. So the Namstel person speaking. This is factual that I tell you all here today. Factual. I was one of Mr. Ola's best friend, close friend to him, so I know everything what was going on. And this guy fled the country. He can't come back to Guyana. He embarrassing black people. He can't come back to Guyana. He's very scampish. He's a biggest scam than I'm saying Guyana ever. He can't come back to this country. That the amount of child support the older fellas one supposed to be 18, one supposed to be 15. At this point in time, let's see the time that he leave Guyana. No much girl he fraud, no much women he sleep with and fraud them, no much of them. So this guy believe that he's a saint. You want to know black people? Kind black people are kind of name. They come to Guyana. All the people that he robbed, the women that he sleep with and raped and robbed, they come back to Guyana. You just see what happened to you. He sing his face supper. Is something up in his sleep with the PPP. Money, the banner, there's always been money. He's always involved in money business. There is the guy is one of the most laziest guy. Look at he. People will know this guy and believe what this guy is saying. But I tell you actually, I want this to almost meet to the length and breadth of this world to stop this guy talking shit about black people. I listen to him talk about the hotel. The hotel is sorry for the man, but he's sorry for the child. He's talking for the man who lost all his things. If the police, they allow the people then going about the child, that could have never happened. And the hotel was burned down by a police officer. It was burned down by the police officer. The police officer set that fire. So I know the bullshit this guy talking. This guy is all out for money. He's one of the most laziest guy. And I want the people in Barbados search for this guy. Search for him and dealt with him condemningly. In your views, all have a blessed day.
Karaki, blessings and good morning to you and our listeners. Listeners from the diaspora, listeners from the 4 corners of the globe. Karaki, I love your analogy this morning when you make it with the cat and the milk. That was spot on. I enjoyed it. I laughed. My contribution this morning, the PPP could do whatever they want. Karaki, they could never, ever win this election. God have a hand in this. When God speak, no man can say nothing. When God close a door, no one can open it. When God give you victory, no man can comment on it. The coalition will win this election. They will win presumptuously. And right now, the PPP and really fighting to win this election. the PPP fighting to save the ass from going to jail. Because when the coalition take office, the problem will start in the treasury, because all you don't know how the treasury looking like. And them people is some people, they're the thief real bad. So to avoid the skin from going to jail, they will fight, they will kill. So Karaki, I am outside watching and listening. Have a good one, my brother.
Thank you for your call. Final call for the day. The line is open. Call it on.
Yes, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning to you, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning to everyone in the Guyanese diaspora, and good morning to all Guyanese. I've been listening to your commentary this morning when you began, and I've been reading the news. And I've seen many persons asking the question about the Mohammeds. Look, the installed presidency is saying that Mohammed has committed some crimes, right? If he thinks he hasn't said that, he has said that, because he is agreeing or he is facilitating the narrative of the sanctions. And that gold that left Guyana, it had to violate GRA's rules. So there is a crime that was committed in Guyana. So let's talk about those crimes, Anil Nandalal. Let's talk about those crimes. We know that the United States is alleging that crimes were committed in the United States. Just listen to Irfan Ali. So at a bare minimum, crimes have been committed in Guyana as well as in the United States. Mr. Amsterdam, if you could quickly show that document I sent to you a few minutes ago. It's called a writ of mandamus. So the people need to see it so they can understand what the PPP is doing. And we want the PPP to understand that the people now know that you are either bluffing or you are working with the Mohammeds. If you could put up the writ of mandamus, and we want those in New York, those podcasters who have been always saying that the PPP need to be taken to court. And if you read the writ of mandamus, it says that it could be used to pressure the government or to demand or command the government to do what the law says it must do by law. And if you're saying persons have been asking the American ambassador about the sanctions, what about the criminal elements of the sanctions? I saw Gordon Mosley asking her that. So the ambassador must also know that we know that either they are bluffing or they need to act on the criminal elements of their accusations, the criminal components of their accusations, because they are saying that Mohammed is involved in major criminality. And we are saying, enough with the talk, take it the next step. There is a process, and the process is being stymied. Obviously, it's been stymied. How long did President Joe Biden issue those sanctions? And a second set of sanctions are placed again. So the sanctions on the Home Affairs, the sanctions on May Thomas is the government proper. What are the criminal elements of those sanctions, together with the criminal elements of Mohammed's sanctions? A writ of mandamus. So Rickford Bork and Mark Benchchop have been very useful in pushing this agenda. I think this is something that has fallen in their laps, and they can actually push it from the United States, because this is something that they've always been advocating. They want to see justice. So this is justice. Use the writ of mandamus. Secondly, lastly, a lot of persons are going to be incarcerated, and I spoke about this previously, and won't be able to vote, not because they don't want to vote, but because they are incarcerated during the 72-hour stop and detain. And those persons should be able to vote. What is party leadership doing with regards to those persons contributing their vote towards victory for APNU in this upcoming election? And to Nigel Hughes and the law firm companies, these are issues which you, as attorneys of law, and Roysdale Ford, etc., these issues should not be beyond your acknowledgement. A writ of mandamus to take the PPP to court, to take the Mohammeds to court on criminality, and to ensure that every person who is eligible to vote, who has been detained in the 72 hours stop and detain without a guilty verdict placed upon them, should be able to vote, must be made possible to vote. Once again, Mr. Amsterdam, thank you for giving me the time to talk to our people on these issues.
Thank you for your call. Mr. Peaceman, thank you for your observation. If that's me, that's me. I don't come here and pretend. We want to put on kitty cat voice. Hi, good morning. Welcome to the program. You're on.
Hi, a blessed morning to you once again, Mr. Gadaki. Just quickly, just to highlight these issues that people should know. On record, it is on record that if you look on all the records since the PPP have took office, it is clearly to show that they have not governed this country in the best interest of the Guyanese people. And, it is alarming to see that, we have reached this state. One of the things I would like to highlight, and I forgot to mention in my previous call, is that if you look at the pattern of the atrocities that has happened since in the Jagdio's first regime or tenure, there were killings all the way. I think there was over 400 or something black men amongst women died in his first tenure. And now he comes as a vice president. The pattern continues. We had the Henry Boys, we had the Linden murders, we had the latest that has shocked not only this country and the region, but the whole world, Adriana Young. We have to ask ourselves, when is this going to stop? When are we going to put an end to this kind of madness that has, introduced itself in our society? And we have ourselves to be blamed as Guyanese people because, we cannot be sitting idly by and saying that, oh, it is not my kind, it's not my daughter, it's not my family. This is all of our problem. This is all our business. This is all our problems. We need to be collective as a people and say, listen, we are no longer, enduring this kind of behavior when it comes to governance. I could recall under the David Granger-led administration, our society was brought back from the dark from the dark days of the PPP rule, Jagdio rule. And you can see at that time people went around in some light of hope and and exercise some level of confidence of the David Granger-led administration. People walked about the streets with some sort of pride and dignity. People wanted to come back home to Guyana to start, repatriation back as a people and as a group and as a nation. And that spells well for Guyana at that time. But you can see clearly after the Granger administration have lost the elections, we see the darkness has returned. So, in essence, what I'm saying on record, for the history of our country, the PPP has shown they have not the capability to run this country or to administer the affairs of our country. They are failed and failed miserably. And we are at a time now that we cannot afford to let this administration move forward or to have them in office to govern this country anymore. Because the future generation, their days are going to be dark. And where the future is concerned, there wouldn't be a bright future for them. And this is for Guyanese people, regardless of race, religion, or creed. The PPP is bad news for Guyana. We have to end this, and we have to do it collectively and put aside race and deal with issues that affect our country and us as a people. Thank you, Mr. Gaddafi, for listening once again. God bless.
Thank you for your call. And I did say the one previous which turned out to be coffee was going to be the final call, but I did allow that one. And again, I'm saying to Mr. Eastman, is Eastman the name? Yes, Christopher Eastman. Why you can't match me too. You can't match me too. If you think I'm arrogant, so be it. That's me. Some of y'all want to come here and put on kids' gloves to deal with who? Politics is not baby party. And I think we got too many play people in the political realm. And that is why we got one set of criminals destroying the lives of the people and destroying the society. You vex for hard talk. Yeah, burn out. I did say I gotta go. It's 9 o'clock. It's 2 minutes past 9 o'clock. But for the previous idiot, according to the other caller, that challenge remains. You show me where during the crime spree resulting from the jail release, because it was a jail release on Mashramani Day, was it 2000? I think 2000. Right? You show me where Indo-Guyanese were killed disproportionately as a result of that jail release. And show me too where it is only Afro-Guyanese were doing those killings. Y'all show me that. And when you can show me that, like I say, I'm going to give you an easy time. Because somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm remembering an Indo-Guyanese among the lot known as Inspector Gadget. You know what was his favorite pastime? Raping African Guyanese women and children. Raping African Guyanese women and children. And he was an operative of the PPP. And somewhere in my head, I remember in the area of Better Hope, opposite the gas station there, where there was a large chicken farm. A criminal was tackled. And he turned out to be a well-known supporter, a well-known henchman of the PPP, and he was Indo-Guyanese. So this one that calling and talking about how many Indo-Guyanese were murdered during that crime spree. I am giving you the same challenge that I've been repeating since you spoke. providing numbers and prove to me that Indo-Guyanese were murdered disproportionately in this society. Like I say it all the time, one life lost is too many. I shed many tears. I shed many tears for people who were killed in this society regardless of their ethnicity. And I don't think I ever said it. But I'm going to say this to you now, and all of them in the PPP. All of them in the PPP. All in the PPP. Who like to say I'm such a racist and I'm so bigoted and all of that. And those who know, the Mohammeds of IP Institute of Professional Education at Moribo, Christine Sokra. I held Christine Sokra in my hand. I held Christine Sokra in my hand. I embraced her as a child of this nation. It was just a few days after she and I sat and we had a good time along with the others at IPE. That she was murdered. So all y'all who just there behind these screens and judging me and judging people, because we speak truth to power, y'all don't know nothing about where we come from and where we are coming from. Go to IP because I taught there for quite a while. When I left, I was acting principal at IP. And it is because of the crime spree I left. My brother was killed on the Sunday night before schools reopened on Monday. Go and ask them. Every child in that school was my child. Go to Annandale Secondary where I was a student and a teacher. And they will tell you, I've never had an issue of ethnic discrimination or racism, what you want to call it, because I never treated anybody as lesser than myself, regardless of ethnicity. I deal with truth and I deal with facts. And I speak my truth and I speak my facts. And I'm inviting all those of you who talking about who was murdered and who wasn't murdered and who killed who and who. There's a monument, there's a memorial at the top of Buxton, Milwaukee there, Church of God Road. Go and look at the long list of names that are emblazoned there. And you could, if you care to, or if you dare attempt to, separate them by ethnicity and come back and tell me who make up the majority. And that list wasn't discriminatory. I remember Starbuck News was carrying a running count of people who were murdered. Y'all check Starbuck News and tell me. Check Starbuck News and tell me. And among everything else, I want you to check the society at the time and see which ethnic group disproportionately now not only control the resources in the country, but also control criminal enterprise in the country. Notice a criminal enterprise. I ain't talking about petty crime. I'm talking about drug runnings. I'm talking about gold smuggling. I'm talking about arms and ammunition smuggling. Check and see who control it. And then examine the statistics again and look to see why many Indo-Guyanese lost their lives in that crime spree and what they were connected to. Why Brahman and Nandalal was kidnapped? Why the guy, I think Jiffy Lubes, that might be, right? The guy with the vulcanizing place on Church Street. Why they found him illness? Was he calamity or something? I can't remember. What were they involved in? And before I leave, just as they're asking me this and ask me that, ask Bharat Jagdeo and the rest of the PPP why Sash Saw was murdered and his murder up to this day, despite the fact that he was a sitting minister of government, remains unsolved. I'll have a great day. I love you just the same. Whether you're intellectually lazy, you clear-cut dunce, or you pretend to be the damn fool, I love you the same way. Y'all have a good day. Much love.